While we every day bear witness to the catastrophic ecological collapse that is plaguing our planet, we must not forget that this is, above all, a human crisis.
This is Flip-Flop. Before we get started, please hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews and would like to see more. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would help our little channel grow. This week we delve into Humane, directed by Caitlin Cronenberg and written by Michael Sparaga. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This dystopian thriller takes us into the day in the life of a family caught in a dire ecological crisis, where societal collapse prompts extreme decisions. As tensions boil over at a family dinner gone wrong, we have to ask, does Humane offer a profound look at our survival instincts, or is making us watch this movie simply inhumane? Find out on this episode of Flick Flops.
Humane. Wow.
Let me get my notes.
I have thoughts on this
I
one.
bet you do.
Let me give you some numbers and we'll go right to the thoughts. Rotten Tomatoes, Gary, 67 with the critics, 41 with the audience. I'll agree with one of those numbers. I couldn't find the budget on this. Box office, $40,000 was all I could find. Again, I don't know where and how this was released. So
it's released in Canada and the United States at the end of April. So it hasn't even, I don't even know how many theaters it went into.
I mean, again, we talked about the last episode. These films get released. I don't know they're being made.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this one for sure.
And I think because there's so many outlets now, people are just crapping out movies.
Yeah.
Literally crapping out some of these movies. Written by, you mentioned Michael Sparaga. He's written something called Sidekick, Servitude, and United We Fan. And those all are pretty high on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I looked at them there earlier. They're high. So he's got some work under his belt. You mentioned Caitlin Cronenberg. This is her directorial debut. And of course, Gary, she is the daughter of
David Cronenberg.
Yes. This guy, he hit his stride in the 80s. He directed Scanners, Videodrome, The Dead Zone, The Fly, Dead Ringers. That was all from like 81 to like 88. So that was really his, for me, his sweet spot. And he's gone on to direct a bunch of movies. I mean, he's got Naked Lunch, Crash, Existence, Spider, History of Violence, Crash. Eastern Promises, A Dangerous Crash.
No, I know. I just had a flashback.
There's a list of films he's done. I'm not saying the guy, but our sweet spot was like Scanners and Dead Ringers and stuff like that. And so she's kind of taken on the family business. And this is what's this listed as, a horror film?
Thriller. So I've got it listed as a thriller. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's not really a horror film.
It's better to call it a thriller than a horror film for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's some gore in it, but it's not gore for horror's sake. It's explained and justified in the movie. So that's all I have for the numbers, and we can jump into whatever you want to do next on this.
I mean, you know the story basically from the trailer. It's a family dinner where this is a dystopian future where there's they're trying to control population. So the family gets together, unbeknownst to why the family is there. The dad wants to announce that him and their stepmom are going to join this program, which basically means they're going to kill themselves.
They're enlisting.
Yeah, they're enlisting. You're right. That's what it's called. And so they're, to keep the rest of the family from having to go through any of that, they're doing it to do their part. But the real plot part comes in when the stepmom disappears. And the people that show up to get the two bodies says, we need a second body, and nobody's leaving until we get one, which then sets the family against each other.
And the hilarity ensues.
Yeah. And so that's the setup for the movie. I'll let you go ahead and read your extremely long list of good things about this film.
Well, that's an exaggeration, but so some of the character development was pretty good. It was interesting to see the background, the one brother, his story, the way it's kind of a slow burn of how he got there. I think all of the characters, the siblings, all had their own little personalities, and I thought they were all fascinating characters. And you root for some, you kind of hate some, and they do it very well.
Yeah.
So I give them a kudos for that, and their acting, they did very good job acting it, and that's all I got for the good.
In that case, I'll read my extremely long list for real quick.
Go.
Acting was good. I thought the direction so Caitlin, this is her first directorial debut. She did photography and short films before this. This is her first feature length film. I thought the directing was very good. I mean, as far as direction of the film, nothing to complain about there.
Sure.
I thought the concept was pretty original in the aspect of how it's done, and the fact that there's this little crew that goes around doing this, almost like they're like pest control or something. They all show up, and that's it. That's my list of good. So let's go to the bad.
To me, maybe you and I would see differently on this. I thought the storyline and the plot of this was bad. I didn't like it. I ain't even gonna act like it. I thought this movie irritated me.
Yeah.
This is what we talked about off camera earlier. One of these films I almost couldn't finish, and this was it. I had some issues with this film. So I have storyline on the bad and themes and messages. This thing felt to me like there was a political agenda. I thought it was incredibly grim and dystopian and Soylent Greeny, Death Race 2000-ish. While I liked Death Race 2000 because it was poking fun, this one just seemed like they were trying to push a message about overcrowding and population control. And I have thoughts on that, and they do not sync up with the writer of this film at all.
I think it was based on a short story by Bill Gates. I'm just kidding.
I was like, really? Wow. So, and that's something we don't need to discuss, because I don't want to sit here and spout beliefs and politicals. I just was like, the whole time watching this, I'm kind of like, oh Jesus, here we go.
Yeah.
So I was all bumped by that. I will say this though, I really enjoyed the Bob character, the guy who was coming to collect the bodies.
Yeah.
This is what was weird to me. This movie is billed as a thriller, but there is some comedy in a sense involved.
I would say there's probably quite a bit of comedy to it for sure.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, and not like laughter, like, oh, this is so funny. People are offering to kill themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but there's some comedy that plays. The way that Bob's like, not leaving him until I get a second body, so you all can figure it out.
Yeah.
And the way he kind of plays that is, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
When you see how this film plays out, and then kind of at the end there's a turn, that was satisfying to me. That was a payoff that I wanted to see, and I got it, and I was like, good deal. I didn't care for the end, and I don't want to give anything away, but the way the movie ends, I didn't care for at all.
Yeah.
And we can discuss off camera, but because I want people, you may want to watch this film, and I don't want to tell you not to watch it. It hit me in a way that
you can just.
you can
just base if you want to watch it on our score.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was on a weekend getaway. I'm in a hotel room watching this film with headphones on, and I'm just like, oh, I keep like looking back at the TV to see what else was on. Like, I wasn't glued to the screen on this one, so not every film's for me, and I get that.
Yeah. I only have two notes on the bad side, to be honest with you. I just think they're kind of important.
Is it plot and story?
Storyline and plot is one of my bad notes. Look, first of all, I like post-apocalyptic type things. I like dystopian things. I enjoy, kind of like conspiracy theories, I enjoy turning this stuff around in my brain. Do I buy into any of it? Not necessarily. Do I buy into every film I don't think that any of this stuff's going to happen in these things, but I like to I just like entertaining these different kind of crazy outcomes that people can see for a crazy ass future, right? This one had a little bit of an originality to it. Not a lot, but there's some original stuff going on in there. But damn, is this movie boring.
Boring.
Until there's some action part that picks up. I was struggling, man. My other note just says this movie took a bit to get going, and it really
Yeah.
was slow and really hard to get to that.
That's a great way to put it, boring. That's what I should have just said. Yeah, you nailed that one because it does. It just there's moments where you're like, "Oh, this is okay," but then it drags a little,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's just too. I mean, if I don't know what the running time was on this, I could tell you how long it felt. It felt like about 2.5 hours. I'm sure it wasn't, but
Dude, I'm like watching it at a hotel in the bedroom like this.
yeah, it was just.
Like, how much longer? I kept clicking to like see how much longer I had,
It was,
and it seemed like the line wasn't moving.
yeah, I'm curious. Go ahead and say something real quick. I just want to look real quick because
Yeah,
I didn't put this down as a note, but I am curious. How long was this movie? Because again,
yeah. So I think she did an okay job with it.
I don't think it was the best debut for her. I mean, I think she seems competent for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
She came from a competent, father.
I mean, I guess here's the thing: if you're a Hollywood studio and you're looking at a director, maybe you're not looking at necessarily the story. Is how is her craft? Did she do well directing the
Yeah.
film? And I don't want to attack the writer because he's got some decent stuff behind him as far as Rotten Tomatoes, but this theme of this was not for me at all, and I don't blame anybody. Just this, I was turned off the minute I started. I was like, oh, for the love of God!
Well, like I said before, I mean, and you mentioned, there is definitely a message and a theme to this movie, for good or bad, depending on where you land on that kind of stuff. I don't know. Let's just get the ratings.
How long was it?
An hour and 33 minutes. It felt like
Wow.
It felt like there was at least another 40 minutes tacked onto it.
Right. Yeah.
There's 40 minutes of otherworldly time. When you're watching it, you get transported. And then,
yeah.
Anyway, so let's go to the ratings. A quick reminder that our rating system is unconventional. We don't hand out stars, we hand out poos and TPs, up to 5 of them. And just to add more confusion, the more we give, the crappier we think the film is. Crappier, get it? Yeah, it's dumb, but that's the way we do it.
I gave it 4 poops. And the way I talked about, you would probably thought I gave it 5, but I didn't give it 4 because I think there are people that would enjoy this movie. I don't think it's another piece of crap. It's no Catwoman by any stretch of the imagination. It just wasn't for me. So I don't want to totally condemn the film because I didn't enjoy the storyline that much. It has its moments where it's okay, but I'll never see this film again.
Yeah.
Ever.
So what was that again? 4?
4.
Pretty close to mine.
I almost went 4.5, but I'm like, I'm even
pretty close to mine. You might be a little surprised. I went with 3.5, based simply on the fact that what you said, there are people that may like this film. I don't know what my frame of mind was watching it. There are some decent moments in the film. There's some interesting parts, some things that happen in it. The acting is really good. I don't think there's anybody that was a bad actor. And thought some of the characters, like you said, the characters are interesting. But man, overall, it was difficult for me to get through. There is probably an audience for this. 3.5 for me. I agree with you. I'll probably never see this movie again.
Yeah. So we should just end now.
Yeah, we should end it. And this is where we cut. No. Do you have anything you want to read? Did you read any?
I did have one critic. Sorry,
I didn't get it. Right. I didn't pull anything, but I thought you might have one. So.
I always try to find one that I either find witty or funny, or I totally agree with.
This is the Citizen Kane of. Oh, okay.
This is not the Citizen Kane of anything. Todd Jorgensen of Cinema Log is who I'm quoting tonight. Todd says, and quote, as the film downplays socio-political intrigue in favor of gory gamesmanship, it sacrifices emotional depth and moral complexity. And I was like, sure, that sounds about right. I just felt like, and this is for me, and again, not to keep talking about this film, but when a film starts to have the hint of a political agenda or a message that they're trying to get across, I start to tune out. And that's just me. There's people that love that stuff, clearly, because we have 24-hour news channels that just have skyrocket ratings. It's just not something I'm into. I don't want to see an agenda unless I go into a film watching it knowing there's an agenda. But even then, I'm a little turned off by it. And this one seemed like it had one. Maybe you'll watch it and somebody will tell me I'm wrong. That's fine.
No, I'm with you. I don't.
The way it hit me, I was kind of like, here we go.
You can't escape a lot of the stuff. online and in the news. And man, that's not what I go to movies for. So if I'm watching a movie, I'd prefer to not have something shoved down my throat. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if you've seen Humane and what you thought about it. Are you giving it 3.5 to 4 poos and TPs? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time on Flick Flops.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.